Two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going to be going on about a choice coming from our good friend Horace, and it just so happens to be probably the newest film that we will be discussing in our repertoire. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what film that we went on and to discuss for this week?
Yeah, so this time the movie I chose was Megan from 2022, the one spelled like M3gan. It's I chose this movie because of this
Wasn't it?
whole
Wasn't it this year?
It
2023.
was actually in 2022.
Oh,
yeah. I chose this movie because I got interested in it because of this whole artificial intelligence hysteria that we have all over the world these days. Uh, so yeah, uh, let's see what IMDb says, and then we will go into first impressions. So. The movie was, let me see where, uh, yeah, it was directed by Gerard Johnstone, written by Akila Cooper and James Van, and it stars Alison Williams, Violet McGraw, Rani Ching, or I'm not sure I pronounced this correctly. It's apparently a Chinese surname, and Amy Donald as the infamous title character Megan.
Yeah, I definitely
So,
noticed that Bloomhouse Productions and Atomic Robot Productions were involved in the film in the very beginning. Atomic Robot is James Wan's signature.
I thought I was gonna be Dad Robot.
Oh,
so what IMDb says about the plot is rather short. It says a robotics engineer at a toy company builds a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own, which technically is not wrong, but it's far from the actual point of the movie. But okay, what are let's go into first impressions now, and let's start with you, Tammy. Was this the first time you watched this movie, and what were your first impressions?
Well, no, I watched it when it shortly after it came out with David.
Nice.
I thought it was pretty decent. It's amazing how realistic Megan looks at and it's you know I don't remember the names of the movies or shows or whatever in the past where
Small wonder.
where robots have gone kind of rogue, you know.
No.
Oh,
This isn't the first one like that where you know a robot has basically taken on a life of its own and made its own decisions and
Terminator.
well, there was
oh,
AI,
Space Odyssey.
artificial intelligence, with Haley Joel, who was in The Sixth Sense. His next movie, I think, was AI, and he went rogue
iRobot.
for a different. Well, iRobot is based on the Isaac Asimov science fiction novel, so that was interesting too.
there was that space one too.
Terminator and iRobot are basically the same things.
Yeah,
The
Terminator was definitely one of the hugest.
The computer on the spaceship.
Oh, you're talking about
Space Odyssey.
yeah.
Reminds me of Mom too. Have you guys seen Mom?
But anyways, so it was like a different take on that, because of the type of robot it was and what it was meant to do and everything that it, you know, turned, uh, you know. But yeah, I thought it was good, and it's how they at first it's very subtle about how the robot is changing, you know. You
Mm,
think that it really is a good thing for the girl and everything, and then it's like, well, maybe not so much. But it was entertaining. It was interesting. So I didn't mind watching it again. And if my cat doesn't settle down, I'm gonna make him a robot.
oh,
Introduce him to Megan. She'll take care of him.
ouch. Crow, you're mean.
Well, you could also always turn it into a Lily Cat, which was an animated feature that I remember about a robotic cat that just kind of like, Ari.
Don't lay there and stare at me. Yes, I'm talking about you. Okay.
Mm, is that it of your first impressions, or would you like to add anything?
No, that's it for right now. I'm having a stare down.
Okay. What about what about you, Kroll?
Yes, it is. I didn't even realize it was out on streaming and stuff. So I've been wanting to see it since I heard about it coming out before it was out, and then just didn't have a chance. So everyone got ahead of me on this one, but I am glad we chose it. I'm glad I know it's out and I got to see it. Um, yeah, it looked really interesting. To me, it feels like it did what Child's Play remake tried to do, but kind of failed. Whereas this one struck it out of the park. I think it did a way better job of bringing um, a child AI to life and then making it turn bad or whatever.
Mm,
Because I don't know, it just kind of made sense the way it did, and then you realize that 100% isn't 100% the AI's fault. Um, the creator forgot to put blunt parameters, as we find out. Yeah, I mean, most of the time, bad AI goes bad because the parameters it interprets the parameters wrong. You know, don't harm don't harm a human or blah blah blah. The three laws of robotics or whatever they call it in iRobot or Terminator or whatever. Usually it's pretty standard in any of those type of movies. But in this one, she claimed that there was no parameters and she was supposed to learn them on her own, which she did not. She realized that she could do whatever she wanted to do, and that's what she did. Uh, so yeah, it was a nice little twist on it, different from the other um, ones of its type. Uh, I always love robot movies, whether they're good or bad or whatever. Good like Short Circuit and TV shows, Small Wonder, things like that.
Hi.
Um, you know, they're all fun. I've always enjoyed them, and I always enjoy when they're bad too. Yeah, they're just kind of fun for me. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. Thought it was really well done. The acting was really well done. Uh, the the design, everything. Megan looked so much like a robot, being a human, that it was freaky and fun. same time. And I love how the first reaction of the niece with Megan, she's like kind of jumping back, like, cause it's this robot, but the same height as her, talking to her and stuff. She's kind of like, should I be afraid of this thing? Or it's kind of doesn't know what to think of it. Of course, she ends up warming up to it, and then becoming obsessed with it, as does Megan with her as well. So yeah, so I think it's a great movie. But that's all I have to say for now at the moment.
And what about you, Dave?
Well, I'd heard the buzz about this movie online. Heard that a lot of people were like, "Holy crap, you've got to go see this movie." And then finally, when a copy of it became available, I ended up watching it with Tammy, and I do have to agree. This film definitely takes the AI to a different level. I mean, you got a basically a machine that is as real as you could want it to be, and it is a thing that you touch it and you bond with it, and it just starts to learn. And as it learns, it starts to teach you, and it becomes almost like a living, breathing person. I mean, the damn thing is able to sing, so kind of like those old Rainbow Bright commercials, So.
Without you asking it to, just start singing.
Oh yeah, I loved the singing moment.
Yeah, it was cool.
Especially because I really like that song, Titanium. I just couldn't believe they chose that one.
I guess this film touches on marketing as well, a little bit, because it starts out with like a commercial for a previous project, and it goes into like how demanding this advertising world is. And in the background, you've got someone trying to steal the plans and all that jazz. So you got a little bit a bit of a level of things going on. But Megan was very lifelike, very real in the situations that she had to deal with, and it was only a matter of time before she, learned that life isn't that entirely great, in real life. I mean, the things that she had to go through to learn and protect her person that she was bonding with. That was real stuff. So, honestly, I'm kind of not surprised that it went the way that it did. I mean, but it was very real, and in a real situation, this could be very possible if we ever accomplish something this, advanced. And that's the thing about science and technology. I mean, even if we do create something that is so cool and so real and whatnot, there's a whole lot of what ifs that come with it. So, but
I always say, they're always busy asking, should I, instead of, they're always busy asking, can I, instead of should I. They said that in Jurassic Park. Like they see they could bring back the dinosaurs, but should they have? So yeah, it's always a question in
Ian
science.
Johnson says from Jurassic Park, you were so thinking about getting the things done. You probably didn't stop to think if you should, you know, things of that nature,
Oh
But
yeah.
that's pretty much my first impressions of the film, at least that I think it was very well done. And it's scary to think that something like this could happen. So
Yeah, we could say so. No, for me, yeah, it was also the first time
Just so
I
you
watched.
know, Philip, look at your Skype for a second. See, everything I just said was fucking written.
Uh, Wait, sorry, what was written?
Look on your Skype message. Everything I just said just now was written to you. Like I must have hit the microphone or something, and it automatically was recording everything I said.
Oh wow!
Speaking of
It
technology, I didn't even know I turned it on, or it even had that. It could do that.
uh maybe your computer is possessed by Megan. You never
Well,
know.
that's my iPhone 11. So yeah,
Okay, same shit.
yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, uh, yeah, yeah. I think it can be applied to everything with science. Um, I don't know. I love science. I love technology, but maybe sometimes I know if they, I know that they've probably gone too far, and I'm sure they will continue to go too far. And I just hope it won't be the end of humanity when they go too far. But I mean, I think the atomic bomb was too far. Nuclear weapons is too far.
Yeah. So my first impressions were it was the first time I watched this movie. I have known about it for a while and I wanted to watch it. I just never got to it since I have recently been extra busy with some personal projects of mine that I'm trying to finish as soon as possible. But yeah, today I finally watched it and I also really liked it a lot. Yeah, the whole concept of artificial intelligence reaching this dangerous level, it's intriguing. Okay, it's maybe for some reason it doesn't scare me as much as it maybe should. I
Scares
don't
the hell out
know.
of my sister. She won't even watch the movie.
uh, yeah, one issue I have with it is that at one point Megan starts killing people who are not really a threat to her bond with the girl. That was I kind of don't see why it went that way, but okay, I won't bitch too much about it since I heard they are making a sequel, so
Are they?
at least it says so on Wikipedia.
Does it? Huh.
Uh, yeah, so yeah, I find that concept very interesting. Although I that was some twist to put it that way that I didn't think should have been in the movie. Like, okay, we will get to that later, but you all know there are some characters who were killed just so without really being a threat to Megan's bond with the girl or without putting the girl in danger or anything. Uh, so that's something I thought was kind of out of character for her. But okay, we will get to that. All in all, I definitely enjoyed the movie, and I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Yeah, the sequel says the movie will debut, at least at this point, on January 17th, 2025, but that could always change. So,
Usually it does,
Yeah.
especially lately.
Ooh. So it's about time to start with the plot. Uh, so at the very beginning, we see this commercial for artificial intelligence
The
pets.
fucked up commercial.
Sorry, what?
It's a fucked up commercial.
Why?
Well, they show the dog, and then all of a sudden they show the burial, and it's like, oh, but the dog died, and you just kind of like it's kind of fucked up. Having a kids commercial about a dog dying. I mean, come on.
basically, these are like futuristic Furbies.
Yeah, I was actually reminded of Furbies too. Somewhere
My
in
sister
my
had a Furby, and that's why she doesn't like AIs. I'll tell that story another time.
well,
It looked like one of these Furby looking creatures actually shat out pellets like at one point in time. Oh shit! Or some oh crap or something like that. I was like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, I thought those were funny. I kind of wish uh, they were in. I wish they had a more prominent role in the movie. I thought they were pretty funny and kind of cute.
What did you think about the commercials, Cammy? Or the commercial?
They could have been the killers.
I didn't like those creatures that she was making. I thought the mouth part just looked really freaky, and it's like I would never give my kids something that looked like that.
Oh, I don't know. I thought they were pretty cute.
I thought they looked like Furby, just like Furbies. My sister had one, so. Did you have one, Tammy?
I thought that Furbies were a lot better looking than those things.
Nope, they looked exactly like those.
Oh, actually, there was a couple that did look menacing. Like I would not give a kid that one either. There was a couple that looked a little different.
Somewhere in my grandmother's attic, I still have an old Furby that I got back in middle school, if I'm not wrong. Emototronic Furby, that's what they were calling it, that reacts to some voice commands and stuff like that.
I remember having a Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah, my sister had one of those too.
Teddy Ruxpin had a cartoon along with it, but it would read you stories, and if you left it recording in the background, you could record whatever the heck you wanted to and have it spoken right back to you.
Actually, she didn't have a Teddy Ruxpin. She had a knockoff, but same thing.
Yeah. Well, at least those Furbies couldn't shit themselves.
I'll well, before we end the discussion, I'll actually tell you my story of why she doesn't like the Furby.
Okay, please do.
I'll also tell you the story of what I read online after my sister told me the story.
Yes.
You want me to do it now?
Well, you said you would tell it, so.
Oh, I said before we end, but I can tell you now. Well, basically, okay. So she would shut it off and go to bed, and all of a sudden in the middle of the night it would turn back on and start yammering and talking and whatever, not talking, but whatever noises it made and stuff. And she even went as far as put it in the closet before, and then woke up and the Furby would be back out of the closet doing it again. At one point she was living on the second floor. This is after I'd already moved out, and it kept doing that. She threw it out the window. And the next day, it was back in her room.
Seriously?
Seriously. And so I looked this up because I was just curious what other people said. And there is actually a long list of people having similar experiences with the Furby. There's a lot of discussion of Furby being possessed and other discussions about that. So if you go ahead, anyone's interested, look that up. Look it up because you will find it. Because I was curious. My sister said this, and I looked it up and found quite a few discussions and articles on Furby and on it being possessed and things like that. So. I just thought that was kind of a little relevant to a degree of what we are of the movie, and why my sister can't stand AI, not even ChatGPT. But
Actually, I did hear a bit about allegedly haunted or possessed Furbies. Now I didn't read too much into it, but sorry for having to ask this. But are you sure your sister didn't make it up just to see your reaction or something?
I doubt it. She told me. A couple months ago,
Uh,
and she's 39. So
okay, I don't know.
yeah, she doesn't generally make up things anymore. She used to when she was young, but lots of young people do. Yeah. So yeah, I honestly don't think so. So,
Mm.
anyways, that's my freaky story. Or my sister's freaky story. Whatever way you want to put it.
Interesting. Well, like I said, I had and still have somewhere that Emototronics Furby, but I never had any such experience with it. Uh, so yeah, I cannot really say much about that. I can say I have a Ouija board in my room, and nothing ever happened to me because of that either. Uh,
Lucky.
I guess. Uh, so, where did we leave off? Yeah, the commercial. So, personally, I thought those AI pets were kind of cute, but okay, maybe not everyone agrees. Yeah, I can somewhat see why some people would find them creepy or whatever, but I am not easily creeped out, I guess.
They didn't creep
uh,
me out, but one of
so
them probably
yeah,
one time I looked a
shortly.
little like
They
they
looked
looked a
okay
little
except for
creepy,
their mouths.
like a little kid would definitely be creeped out. I think.
I think they looked fine except for the mouth part.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the
Not
mouth
all
that
of them.
looked that was creepy
No, a few of
looking.
them looked exactly like Furby, but the a few of the others just kind of just seemed menacing, like
Mm, mm, uh, yeah, so shortly afterwards, we find out this main girl, Katie, she got one of these, what do they call it? Per, 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 perpetual pet, something like that. Uh,
yeah,
she,
perpetual pet.
yeah, she gets one of those from her aunt, who
For
later
Christmas.
becomes. Sorry, what?
For Christmas.
Ah,
No,
yeah.
I thought it was for her birthday.
Oh,
Uh,
mm, maybe, I'm not sure.
when she asked her later, hey, do you still have that Christmas present that I got you?
Yeah, I thought she said her birthday present. Doesn't
Oh,
really matter. I just thought it was
mm,
birthday.
Yeah. So, so yeah, she has one of those, and we see her in the car with her parents, and they get into an accident where the parents
Oh, come on,
die,
you got to tell a
and
line. Oh,
the girl.
just wait here until it clears up, until one of those things come by. But yeah, how long will that take? Wow!
Put out! Oh, yeah. Yeah, it
I
wasn't.
I was having an issue with the parents. Like, why would you like argue in front of your child who is not that old? I mean,
Obviously, you've never been a parent.
I,
Uh, when, when I was a kid, I heard kind of lots of moments of my parents arguing, and I must say, okay, maybe I reacted to it differently from the way an average child would, but in my case, when I heard my parents shouting at each other, I found it kind of interesting that someone is shouting, but among each other and not at me.
that,
I
that
overheard
was a little different.
shouting matches too, and unfortunately, that gave me the viewpoint. If I was ever a parent, every argument that I had with my wife or the mother of my children, I would rather us not like argue in front of the children, because you don't really want to like have them learn.
You don't want to, but it happens. I mean, that's why I broke up with my ex, because I was tired of fighting, especially tired of fighting in front of Felicia. So yeah, but it definitely happens, and I definitely didn't want to argue in front of my daughter, but it happens.
David, you argue in front of our children all the time.
That's different. Those kids, they're like Finding Dory or whatever. Their minds one moment to the next. You can yell at them, and then they'll be right back up on your lap. You know, that's different. They're
Did you
like
ever notice
10
they
Dan.
act out?
Dan. Hi, my name is 10-second Dan. Oh, hi, my name is 10-second Dan. It's different when it's human children.
They do react. They do react, though, even though they're not human children. They do react. Maybe you don't notice it, but I
Oh,
do.
actually, I heard that animals can get affected by
Oh, they
that kind
definitely
of
can.
stuff too.
Well, you do usually forget it too.
But in any case, I just could not find myself entirely liking the parents for some reason. I didn't like the fact that they were.
I didn't like the mother. he was kind of stuck in it. She was just being like ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. And in order for me to invest myself in any emotions towards a parent's death, I get it. The kid missed her parents crazy and all that jazz, and it played an effect on her and how fast she uh, attached herself to Megan. But I still couldn't invest myself self fully in her parents' death. You know,
Well, they had too short screen time to get too devastated over their death.
Well,
I
I mean, I
don't.
was
I
sorry
just
her
think
parents
they kind
died for
of
her
almost
sake.
caused their own deaths.
I was sorry they died for her
Mm,
sake, and like I said, I don't think the
I
dad was
was
that
sorry
bad.
too, but I also kind of think that if they had been paying attention to the road, maybe they might have been able to avoid.
Well, I think he was paying attention to the road, but she kept fucking trying to start an argument and distract him.
mm.
She's freaking out because the weather's so bad and they're sliding a little bit. I mean, they're sliding a tiny bit, and she's freaking the fuck out like they're did a 360 and flipped over or something. You know, it was stupid. She needed to check herself.
Yeah, she did, and I think that's she is the reason why
They didn't need to die. They just needed a good smack
She didn't
upside the
need to
head.
die, but I also think she partially caused some of the
Of
accident.
course she did. But you know what? Even if they had kept driving, nothing would have changed.
I agree, because that
They
car.
still would have ran into the snowblower, and you know, not snowblower, but I mean the whatchamacallit. It still would have smashed into them because you know it wasn't obviously wasn't paying attention. So yeah. I just think that it was kind of funny the way they did it, though. They're like, how long is that going to take? And then spit out!
Wow!
You know, which obviously they did on purpose. And I caught it, and I thought it was funny. Because, you know, I could be sick and twisted, too.
Yeah, it was a spudal.
Yeah, it was. Not the last one, either.
Definitely. Uh, so after that, yeah, then we get to know the aunt who bought the girl that robotic animal, and we find out she is a roboticist at this high-tech toy company named Funky or Funky, not sure how they are
Funky.
pronouncing it. Funky.
It's funky.
Yeah. Uh, and
She killed the girl?
uh, we also find out before she has to take responsibility for the girl, we find out that she is working on this new robot called Megan, which
Where she wasn't supposed to be. She was supposed to be trying to find a way to make the perpetual pet cheaper.
yeah, but wasn't she first working on Megan and then the
Yeah, she
boss
was,
showed
like I
up?
said, but she got yelled at because she was supposed to
Oh,
be working on
oh,
making the perpetual pet cheaper.
oh yeah, sorry, I misheard you. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Which, to be
Uh,
fair, her boss is right because he's her boss, and you know he should be doing what she's supposed to be doing. If she wanted
uh,
to do that on her spare time or after she's done what she's supposed to
Or
do,
not using company money.
oh yeah, that too.
I mean, it ended up turning out that she made something incredible that her boss loved, at least until, you know, it killed him.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's for later.
Uh,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, spoiler alert. We are going to spoil the shit out of the movie, which we have somewhat already done. Sorry about that.
Well, if you haven't watched it, why are you on this podcast?
Uh,
I'm glad you're here, but honestly, go watch the movie first. Catch the repeat.
true. Uh, so yeah, we find out, yeah, she is using the company money to create Megan, and yeah, something.
He didn't seem that all upset though that she used the money. He did ask how much, and she just kind of didn't answer, so which made him think a lot. But he didn't really like get mad at her for that. Just that she wasn't doing what he asked. So he was. I think he was actually being pretty fair, honestly, as far as bosses go. I think he was actually pretty darn fair, and also him complaining about not having a card for the lab. I mean, he is the boss, and he should. So. I actually agree with the boss. You know, lots of times the boss is a dick, but I honestly think he wasn't. He wasn't a dick, and he was in the right.
So yeah, then Yeah, they have a test of Megan in the lab, and
Oh
Megan
yeah.
goes
Is
Spudao.
a face that arrives that is like rubber and all that jazz in a box.
Yes, yes.
Prosthetic.
Uh, yeah, so they are doing some test, but it fails, and this first version
Oh
of
yeah, you
Megan.
forgot to put on. I forgot what they called it, but basically made it so it wouldn't overheat, and it overheated, and kind of exploded all over them, and Spow!
Oh, no! Yeah, that was the second Spudao.
Yeah,
uh,
first one was still better, but yeah,
did you say the first was better?
yeah. What
Yeah,
was? How long is that gonna take? Spow!
And it
Spudao.
happens right in front of the boss too. So
Well, it
even
landed on him too. It landed some on him. If it had been a human, he would have been covered in some blood and guts.
You are kind of in a morbid mood today, aren't you, Crow?
Me? No.
uh, so yeah, after Megan goes Spudao, uh, yeah, then Gemma, which is the aunt's name, she gets notified about her sister and her brother-in-law getting killed in a car accident, which means she has to take responsibility for the girl. And then we get the scene when they come home, and what did you all think of the way the aunt was treating the girl when she barely just
She
arrived?
didn't have a fucking clue what she was doing. Clearly. But I mean, to be fair, she did. She even kind of admitted it later that she just doesn't. But she promised her sister that she would take her. So she wanted to keep that promise for her sister and for Megan. I'm sure she loved Megan too. It's just she wasn't prepared for it. So in her mind, the kid's coming, but nothing's going to change, and that's completely wrong. Like first thing, Megan goes over to the toys, and like some of those collectors that are usually guys,
You,
um, it's to be seen, not played with, and
uh,
she,
you,
of course, kids don't understand that, and hell, I don't really understand that much. I do a little bit, but but so. Yeah, she was expecting nothing to change, and yeah, that's not what's going to happen. You just brought a 9-year-old into your life that just lost their parents and all. There's going to be all kinds of change, and she just didn't know. She didn't know how to handle it. I mean, it wasn't her fault. She wasn't. She was just thrown into the situation. She probably expected. Every parent has that. Usually, ask their best friend or brother or sister, "Hey, if something happens to me, will you take care of my kid?" And it's called, being a godmother or a godfather or something like that. And most people say yes, and they don't think about it again. That's it,
mm,
and nothing ever happens. But then there
uh,
are times when something does happen, and it's like, there's been movies on that too, where all of a sudden a single guy or a single woman is thrust upon this child in their life, and they don't know how to handle it. They do the best they can, for the promise that they
uh,
made for the kids' sake. But you know,
well, I must admit, I was pretty shocked that her sister has just died, and the girl's parents, and all, she in such a moment, she is concerned about a stupid ass card box of some toy.
yeah. Well, some people are just obsessed with their work. Even like, I mean, the other girl was even like, you know, you just lost your sister, and you got the kid there. You should be focusing on that, not on your work. But yeah, some people are just obsessed with their work, and you
Mm,
know, um,
yeah, about her obsession with the work, I can kind of see it, but at the same time, I thought before when she said she had to finish her work in a week, in spite of having a death in the family, I was like, hey, why don't you at least try to ask the boss if he can give you extra time?
most
Like,
jobs
he
will
didn't
give you 3 days grieving, but that's in normal circumstances. I think with the kid, they might have given longer. Where she's taking care of the kid and it's extra stuff. But yeah, she wasn't really taking that. It didn't show her taking that time with her niece at any rate. Um, and then of course she ends up rebuilding Megan herself and. Immediately thrusts Megan and the girl together, thinking, now she doesn't have to bond and because she obviously knows she doesn't know what she's doing, so she's doing the best thing that she knows how, and she's letting the AI do everything, and unfortunately, it became very disastrous for people.
want. Mm, yeah. Mm. And in those scenes when she is rebuilding Megan, we also get to know another robot that she made earlier, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah.
one by the name of Bruce. What do we think of that one?
Oh, it's a fucking amazing that she made that in college, and I mean it's pretty cool that it's controlled by the gloves, and we'll see later how that comes into play. That maybe it might be an older model, but it could be considered a better model than Megan. It was at least sturdier. I don't know what the hell it was made out of, but it ripped the hell out of Megan. So, um, yeah, it definitely was sturdier. Unfortunately, clumsy.
Uh,
And,
maybe,
but
yeah.
yeah, that scene was a really good scene. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, it was enjoyable.
Uh,
I liked the robot, and I loved her love, and she's like, would you like to talk to it? She's like, yeah, like you know that was actually her first love and her first bit getting out of the shell. Well, I mean, she did kind of like the ball, whatever that ball was supposed to be. We never really found out what that ball did.
uh, oh, yeah, yeah. We really never found out.
Yeah, 'cause she kept saying, "Oh, you gotta press the lever to do whatever it did." And she's like, "Oh, it's a toy. You can figure it out, but it's not a ball." Okay, we'll just roll it like a. You could tell how annoyed she was because she's like, "It's probably cost thousands of dollars to make, and they're rolling it around like a ball." But
uh,
it was funny. Like I'm sitting there. Why did she take a knife to open the box? She like cuts open the box and just tosses the kid the ball, and it was just like she was being so over dramatic about it.
yeah.
I think that was her way of showing she was annoyed with the social worker.
Yeah, maybe
Instead of saying she was annoyed with the social worker.
she definitely was. She was definitely was annoyed that they were rolling
That
the roll back and
social
forth.
worker. That social worker. She was a bitch. Um, e- e-
They
especially
usually are.
especially when it was you could tell it was like the day after she had actually gotten Katie home, and she was just in her pajamas, and she was like, "Oh, you're still in your pajamas."
Yeah. Like, give them a fucking break. They're just getting used to each other. Like I was
And
saying before, it's like she's not used. She's not. We don't even know if Megan ever even visited overnight before, and probably from the impression we got, she
you
hasn't.
you
So
mean you mean Katie, not Megan?
Yeah,
and
that's right.
and she was being tough on her because evidently the grandparents were
Yeah.
mentioned that in that same meeting,
I
and
guess somehow, well, they always think that two parents are always better than one, so they're always gonna do like that. So that's why she was jaded with it, because she was like, oh, two grandparents are gonna be better. Doesn't matter what the wishes of the mother were, or the child, or anything. Like, that's all they care about. Yeah, social workers can be douchebags. Some of them can be good, honestly. I mean, their work is good, but some of them just they take the power to the head and they don't do
this
what's good
social
for.
worker didn't really impress me though.
No, not at all. The
Um,
only time she seemed concerned at all, she seemed a little concerned when the little girl slapped the aunt. Um, when that whole scene later. But yeah,
uh,
she did not really seem all that
uh,
concerned about the
the
kid's well-being at all.
the slap scene was amazing.
Spit out!
Oh yeah, pretty much Spudao. Oh
Yeah,
no, no.
the only time that I ever even remotely respected the social worker was when she pulled what's her name aside and told her about the dissociative disorder, where
Oh yeah,
you
I
know,
agree.
uh, oftentimes in times of tragedy, sometimes the first person that the child looks up to is the person who starts to care about them the most.
Yeah, they said
And
normal circumstances it would be the aunt, but yeah, yeah,
you know,
Uh,
that,
yeah.
that was a that was a good tidbit, and it did make sense that it came from her, because that was supposed to be her field. So
well, I guess there is the thing that the aunt she decided to use her niece as part of her experiment instead of trying to be the aunt, or the mother figure. That aspect of the whole thing.
well, like she said herself later on,
Yep.
that she didn't know how to handle it. So she did the other thing she did do. She, she made basically she made the parent, friend parent for her niece, and she thought that was the right thing at the time.
Yeah.
And she later, just like they say, hindsight is 20/20. I mean, I like the aunt, but she's definitely a flawed character. She's not perfect, but she admitted that she was wrong. She admitted that she did wrong, and she was not. She wasn't perfect, but she at least admitted things, and she did seek out alternative ways to handle things, whether they're right or wrong, like the schooling and everything else. She tried. She did try. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
do have to appreciate that she did try.
that's true.
Although Megan had already gotten her to fourth grade mathematics, uh, according to Katie, um, I do think she definitely needed to go to school.
I don't.
And that school situation, holy crap!
You can't. Did you know that if your kids are homeschooled, they can still go to the school for intramurals or any after school activities at all? They can also join the sports teams as well. Also, there's the YMCA. So there's no reason for the kids to be in public schools, and with all that, when they can just easily go to the after school programs and stuff like that as well. So all that, they should be around other kids for social. They still can be around other kids. Teaching your kids from home can be a great alternative. It's not for everyone, but it can be a great alternative.
Well, at least in that case, you don't have to worry about school shootings.
Exactly. This is what we talk about when we market the schooling. And yes, I am marketing homeschooling.
A nice one.
Sorry, I just had to throw it out there, and I actually agree. And again, not every kid is good for homeschooling, but that doesn't mean that every kid is also good for schooling. I wasn't good for schooling. I wish I could have learned from home. I hated
Uh,
being in school. I
yeah, I
loved learning.
can.
I just hated being in school.
In my case, independent, I maybe liked to learn some things, but some other things were boring me to death, and I hated having to
Oh yeah, I
study
mean, I
that
couldn't
shit.
stand U.S. history. It was boring.
Oh, for example, or geography, maybe even worse. How much potato does this and that country export?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I was never all that good at it.
Yeah.
Like I still don't know where some countries are. Hell, I mean, I didn't even know Croatia existed before I met you.
Oh yeah, that was funny when you said that.
Well, I mean, I can understand you thinking it's funny because you live there and it's your country, so it's very relevant to you, but it wasn't relevant to me at all. You
That,
know?
that's fair enough. Don't worry, I'm not offended. I just thought it was funny.
Well, I know. Well,
Mm.
I had somebody said they were in Florida and they never heard of Massachusetts. I'm like, okay, I'm not the biggest with geography. Like, I couldn't tell you what state is next to another state, but I may not be able to say all 50 states off the top of my head, but I know they all exist. Like, as soon as I hear it, I know about it. So, I don't know. I'm just like, are people really that stupid?
Yeah, you can encounter a lot of weird things
I mean, Florida is
people
not
not
that far away
know.
from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It's about a 20-hour drive, 15 if you drive fast.
Oh, from where you live.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Mm,
He definitely
so,
chose a kid for you to hate, at least with the school situation. Uh, that child, that boy, he was pretty mean.
He
oh,
was a fucking, he was a little prick. Maybe he shouldn't have, he definitely deserved to get his ass beat. Maybe not killed, but he definitely
uh,
deserved a lesson that he learned. But yeah, she went too far. Um, Definitely went too far. Um, and the thing is, technically, Megan did not kill him. Technically, she didn't push him. You know,
He tripped.
he tripped, but she did say run, and she was chasing him, and he tripped and fell down the hill, and then
And the
standing up
way
and
she chased him by galloping, like with
oh yeah, like a cheetah.
oh,
a bull
oh, yeah, that was badass.
or a
Yeah,
cheetah.
pretty awesome. Oh, he was being a little prick, and like I said, he probably deserved to have his ear pulled, but not pulled off. So, like I said, she went above and beyond what she should have done. She definitely was a little too harsh.
Yeah, if she hadn't
Mm,
have pulled the ear, it would have just been a normal accident anyway. Anyways, because it's because they found the ear elsewhere is why they were considering it a homicide.
Oh, my son loves it here. He's a gentle soul. Oh, you want to go for lunch, son?
Oh, I wanted
Fuck
to.
off! And then
I
he calls her by her first name too, Holly. I think. Fuck off,
Holly,
Holly.
yeah.
Whatever.
and
And she just laughs and
when the kid told her "fuck you," I was like, I wanted to like punch that kid out.
Yeah, like, and she still saw only the good in him, and that's how he treats her.
well, she did say no, thank you, we'll be fine. So she did correct him at least. But yeah, she definitely allowed the behavior by making excuses.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as
like
soon as they
she, di- She didn't even do anything to deserve getting treated like that.
Nope, at least when I swore my mother is because she was being a bitch to me. I was saying I was right, but he's had reasons.
Although the lady is like going to any church function where they are liable to talk your ear off because they're so way damn happy and you're just trying to wake up.
If you say so.
I've been on the receiving end of people who are just way too happy for their own good. And
I've been recently been pretty damn happy even first thing in the morning. So, but I used to, I know what you mean because I used to not like people that smile all the time. Like, what are you smiling for? Why are you smiling so fucking all the time?
Interesting question.
But it's because I was miserable. Misery loves company.
I don't know, if people are way too cheerful, it creeps me out a little bit. At times, like I get it's supposed to be welcoming and all that jazz.
The fake smiles.
Yeah, it's kind of like walking into like a Stepford town.
Yeah, it's the fake smiles. The one that you can tell that they're definitely not really smiling, but they're smiling. And it's messed up.
The Tupperware committee that comes over to your door with the fake smiles to welcome you to their home, only to just be nosy and chatter some more later
Yeah,
on.
I just want to check out the new neighbors and.
But speaking about the neighbors, what did we think about the neighbors?
At first, I thought she was just kind of friendly, and then I thought she was kind of a bitch, and yeah.
Yeah, she was a bit of a bitch, pun
But
somewhat
I do
intended.
agree that the dogs shouldn't be put down. The kids were going through the hole, and actually the dog was in its own yard. So, because I don't want to see a kid get hurt, the dog was not in the wrong. And I don't like dogs, but
Yeah, I did feel a little bit sorry for the dog, although I did think it was a bit too aggressive, which means that neighbor probably wasn't a good dog owner.
That's where I differ a little bit. That arrow was only just on the other side of that hole. If the person putting their hand through the hole was not really like hurting anything, then that dog should have been taught what was bad and what wasn't.
so it was more the owner's fault than the dog.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I do think it was a little bit the dog's fault because the dog didn't need to do that. But I also think it's our owner's fault for not teaching it the difference between what should be protected and what should not be protected. So again, you can't.
They didn't teach Nick either.
Again, there are freak accidents where you can't really control your pets. Because I know that my grandma had a Rottweiler at one point in time. His name was
Oh,
Pancho, and he was the cutest dog. He would back up onto your knee and sit on it. It was so cute.
Wow,
But
for real?
my cousin from Colorado came and visited with my uncle, and it was the last day before they were supposed to like go back to Colorado, and she decided to get down in his face and say, "Oh, he's being nice." A car came by, and he literally, because she got too close, he bit her face almost halfway off. And we had to take and put him down for her. And it was a freak accident, and it was. My grandma had him on a short leash and everything, like right close to her. She didn't expect my cousin to be so, friendly with the dog, So it just shit happened, and I'm sure there are many moments that dogs have shit like this happen where they'll be like the sweetest of dogs, but they'll get mean sometimes. And it wasn't even that he was trying to be mean. I think he was just scared of something outside. She got too close, so so.
I guess. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was more sad to see my grandma watch him getting taken away, but at the Humane Society to go. But it is what it is, and we had to do something about it. I mean, it's sad when you come across situations like that because you don't want to put animals down or put them out.
Well, if there wasn't police involved, then why exactly was it inevitable to put the dog down?
Because if they do it once, they can do it again, and it might get used to it.
Oh.
So we didn't want to take that chance, and even though we loved him, because he was part of the family, because my grandma always either lived next door to us or downstairs from us. We just had to, so safety reasons. So we didn't want it to ever happen again to anyone else. So that being said, continue us down the story. I know what happened to the lady.
Yeah. So we left off at the part where the dog grabs M3gan, right?
Yep. And you actually see sparks fly where her neck was. So I'm kind of surprised that the ants didn't check M3gan out right then there to see if something was went wrong right then and there. Because up until that point, yeah, okay, had that kid been murdered at that point in time, or was that afterwards?
I think
the dog died first.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the kid died that the ants started thinking of that.
I feel like something went off kilter when when M3gan got bitten, and nobody ever checked whether M3gan's stuff was okay. Katie was bitten, and she evidently was taking antibiotics of some sort for that. But did they at all check M3gan out to see if M3gan was okay? No, I don't think they did.
So your point is that when M3gan got bitten by the dog, that maybe that caused some issue with her software that made her violent.
It's very possible, and the experience of it could have changed her.
Good point.
Because up till then she'd experienced no violence herself.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think, Ron? Do you think that experience changed her a little bit?
Possibly. She definitely seemed more aggressive after that. And she definitely had that look in her eye when she was looking at the neighbor.
And did you see the sparks fly when she got?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. So
it's like the dog maybe.
I thought it was kind of funky that Megan wasn't also checked over too at the time, but I also think that the Katie getting bitten kind of distracted the aunt a little bit. So I don't think she took the time to check Megan out to see if her circuits were okay.
Yeah. I guess she didn't think something could go that badly wrong.
Nope. Which I think was a responsibility that as a creator of the robot, she should have taken in hand. But that's something that I noticed that was kind of funky.
Yeah.
But after that happened, I guess the dog disappeared.
Yeah, actually, we never even found out exactly what Megan did to it.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
When she was gonna kill the neighbor, she's like, "Where's my dog?" And she said, "Oh, about 5 feet, blah blah blah, down." So she killed it and buried it.
Yeah, she said where he was, but didn't say exactly what she did.
Well, we can figure it out that she killed it and then buried it, or buried it alive. Either way, I mean.
Oh, yeah, I guess that could be it. So, where are we?
I believe we did mention the boy getting killed, so that happened afterward. After all of this, and we do get the moment where the neighbor is killed. And
Yeah.
I do believe that shortly after that is when she realizes something is wrong, and I believe Megan starts to question her about certain things that makes her a little defensive. So she takes this pen and asks her to look at it, and puts her to sleep, and then she takes Megan to her office because she wants to run some tests, because it's evidently coming on the night that they're supposed to show the product.
In 4 hours.
Yeah, it's like 4 hours. Also, we have the one dude who's always getting the boss's coffee or whatever. He is stealing the plans for Megan, and Megan, I think, finds out somehow, because that's why she also, spoiler alert, kills him off after she kills the boss, which our good friend Kroll already spoiled the audience about.
Yeah, I must say I found the boss's death kind of stupid because that's what I said at the beginning. That for some reason Megan started to kill people who were not really a threat to her or to Katie or to her bond with
Well,
Katie.
that
Like,
dude was a threat to the company, and he was selling Megan's secrets to
Yeah,
Hasbro.
he made sense with the boss.
yeah, I'm
Boss,
talking about the boss.
yeah,
Uh,
not sure
uh,
why she killed the boss.
yeah, so I don't understand why she killed the boss. He was actually
Maybe
one
she
of
didn't
her.
want to. Maybe she didn't want to be promoted as a product.
Huh.
Yeah, maybe she was coming into her own person, and she was thinking more like a human being. You know,
Instead
I
of that,
thought,
I'm a product or I'm a toy. You're gonna make millions of things like me. I'm one of a kind. I am for Katie.
especially since
who?
there is this moment where she has this talk with the aunt or her creator about you left me in the dark figuring out things, and humans kill people and things every day and get away with it. So why can't I? Things of that nature. And
Oh,
in a sense, she's got a point
yes.
because humanity has been forever killing in the name of no reason. So,
But I think the boss was somewhat of a threat to her because she was already thinking of herself as the one, the only, and for Meg and for Katie only. And now he wanted to make more like her to give to sell to other people. She didn't want to be replicated. I think is what it was.
Okay, maybe that's a
she didn't
good.
want another like her created because then that robot as well would be going through this whole struggling to figure things out on her own. And I think there were moments where I think that Megan actually fought, had fear herself. You
Who?
know,
Possibly, but which particular moments are you referring to?
well, I would think that a dog attack would definitely make you scared.
Oh, yes.
I think that the possibility of losing Katie was a possible ability on the horizon, and she didn't really want to deal with that.
Oh, good points, yeah.
But yeah, um, we do have this moment where well, the aunt actually works with two other employees. I believe one of them, his name is David, and the other.
David was the boss, your
Oh,
namesake.
okay, yeah. Um, okay, so I get killed. But
Wow!
Put out!
we do have two other employees that work with the aunt that are testing Megan, and they realize that she's not either not plugged in or still plugged into the network. So they have her um, hoisted up, and I think her arms are in some kind of like cups or something like that. It looks like they actually have her like in some kind of a tethering unit, and he goes up to her and looks like he's taking some wires out of her, and I believe that there is a call that the aunt evidently thinks that she's called one of her employees is talking to her, when it in fact was M3gan.
Oh, yeah. That,
She'd intercepted a call.
Which they found it in the programming too. Like it called, what's this call intercepted? And that's when they realized when something was wrong.
yeah, and I was kind of left wondering why was that in the program in the first place.
Well,
Everything that M3gan is supposed to happen is supposed to show up on the coding. She erased some of the other things, but didn't have a chance to erase that, I guess.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but I mean, why would they program, or why would the ad program her to be able to intercept calls?
She didn't program it. She learned that on her own.
yeah, she did.
That's the whole point, is
Oh,
that she learned on her
oh,
own.
She learned everything on her own, how to
Her aunt didn't teach
get
her
out of.
program her how to kill, but she learned how to do that too.
Well, and
yeah.
obviously she learned how to get out of the parental control and control her own functions. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to do these things. So
Exactly.
ultimately, she came alive and
Number 5 is that.
started to choke the shit out of the one dude and left him choking. And the other chick, she came over with a handsaw, and while she came over with the handsaw, she punctured this. I think it was something toxic.
And we have the next spit out. What's that smell? Boom! Spit out!
No.
And she basically just walked out of there. David's looking for where the ant is. So he's walking down to the control area to see if he can find her. And he's talking to the investors on the phone when he suddenly realizes M3gan's there, and he's like, M3gan? What are you doing?"
What are you doing? Then she starts dancing, and then she flips, and then she grabs the knife off the
And I was thinking she
shredder.
must have learned that dancing from Harley Quinn.
Right? And she grabs the knife from the shredder, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And that's when he starts running. And
Yep. And he doesn't quite make it. He's killed. And she comes upon the dude who's selling information, and she basically says,
and
"Hey,
this is really diabolical, where she's like, he's like, "Why'd you kill her?" But I did. You did. And then she explains how she's gonna frame him completely, and then he's like, "But you were so distraught at killing him," and he's like, "No, it wasn't." And then she kills him, making it look like he killed himself. It was so good. It was so diabolical too. It's great.
Oh yeah.
It's great that she didn't just kill, but she thought of a way to make it look like it wasn't her. And just like the lab could have been an accident. Everyone that's died, she made it look like accidents, except for the neighbor. She kind of messed up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What exactly did she even do to the neighbor? I know she
Oh, she
killed him.
fucking sprayed her with chemicals, and she stomped her head.
Yeah, I was wondering what exactly those liquids were.
It was chemicals for her plants. And when she was using them, the aunt's like, I don't want your chemicals in my yard. And he's like, "Oh, you want to borrow this, sprayer?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to spend my afternoon cleaning up your mess. Just, hang up something,
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a moment where I guess one of the promoters is waiting for Megan's arrival. The elevator shows up, and of course the bodies are there. So while the pandemonium of the people running happens, the security are like distracted. Megan leaves the building, and I was just thinking, all cars are completely controlled by computers these days. So it's not far off that Megan would be able to control that car and get into it and drive
Cool, good point. Yeah, it was interesting when she started to drive.
it. And it looks like Megan actually gets to their home before they do.
Oh yeah,
So once the aunt gets home with Katie, she puts Katie to bed. But then she realizes there's something off, and I think Megan shows up, and she's there to basically talk to her and try to convince her to be on her side at first. Like she's trying being diplomatic.
Yeah, basically, she wants her help in taking over, but she makes it clear that if she doesn't want to help, she'll do it without her.
yeah.
And Katie wakes up and hears the
Commotion.
and they basically both. Well, Megan basically threatens her. Hey, I will choke you.
I'll pop your head right off if she comes in here.
Ooh.
Yeah, she basically threatens her. So as she is ultimately able to talk Katie into just going to bed and everything's okay. But then she continues to resist Megan, and she runs down the hall, and Megan follows, and then they're in the computer room with all her tools and stuff, and she ends up trying to go over to the wall where this like chainsaw is, having trouble getting the chainsaw off.
I thought when they were running down the hallway too, seemed like Katie was going to try to get up, and she's yelling for Katie to stay in there and to get away, and of course Megan just rips the doorknob out because she doesn't want Katie coming out either. Like she said, when Katie does come out, I was like, "Oh, I didn't want you to see this, but since you're here,"
Mhm.
I love how she tries to get Katie to join her in her killing of the aunt and stuff. It's like,
Well, yeah, and obviously it's not working. I think by this point, her and the aunt had come to an understanding, and I think she'd accepted her aunt's apology to not being able to deal with her situation at the time. And I do think that it's a cool thing that Bruce was also involved in this
Oh
and to
yeah,
Bruce.
fight.
And to Bruce. Yep. She
oh
came
yeah,
in. She came in wearing both gloves, which we'd only seen one glove
We
before.
forgot
But
to introduce you to one other member of this
I,
family.
I love how she was just looking the whole time. Megan's like trying to convince her, like she's not looking like, "Yeah, I'll join you," or like she's just watching her, and even the aunt was a little afraid that she might, because she was like, "Katie, don't," at one moment. So even the aunt wasn't sure what Katie was gonna do.
yeah, that was
The kid was completely calm too, because the doll was checking her vitals and emotions and everything, and she was completely calm. She wasn't showing anything, and no fear, nothing, and she she completely tricked the robot too, which is really amazing. because the robot could actually analyze her emotions, and yeah, and then that was great when she introduced her to Bruce, and Bruce just grabbed her, and they said that Megan was made out of titanium. I don't know what the hell Bruce was made out of, but goddamn, he ripped her apart.
uh, yeah, I'm not sure if Megan was literally made of titanium, but
They said she was made out of titanium. Well, actually, they said titanium shell. I think they might have said.
I remember her singing that song, but I don't remember them saying she was actually made of it.
What song?
Oh, mm. Yeah, that was actually some pretty good writing regarding Bruce. Like when he appears for the first time, you think he is just some predecessor to Megan, and once he disappears from the screen, you don't really think about
Yeah, you
him
don't think about him
anymore.
again.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was
Yeah,
interesting.
it was a very very cool way to bring Bruce back, and basically, well, it was the little girl that was the savior, but she used Bruce to do it, and then we lose Bruce, and she still ends up saving her again
Yeah,
by stabbing Megan in her processor. I think it's her processor.
Yeah,
something
basically.
like that.
Um, and we get the cops showing up, and they leave the house. But before they leave the house, that there is a computer like thing that
Yeah,
I don't.
it's basically Alexa.
Yeah, yeah.
It's basically Alexa, yes. And uh, during the film, you actually see her like taking control of this thing.
Well, she doesn't seem to like Alexa at first, or whatever the robot is called. Lexi.
Elsie,
Didn't they call it Lexi?
Elsie, I think.
I thought they called it Lexi.
I thought they called it Elsie,
Well, maybe you guys are right.
but Elsie, before the movie rolls the credits, starts to face, the audience, and that makes you think that Megan might have uploaded her backup drive to Elsie. You know,
Mm,
Oh, is that what
yeah.
that was? Actually, I didn't even think of that. Usually I do, but
Yeah, that was an interesting ending. Although I must say I had a little bit more of a horror ending on my mind. I think it would have been more interesting. Well, okay, this is good too, especially since we are hopefully going to have a sequel, and anything can still happen.
honestly, as much as I love the movie, I'm kind of surprised they're doing a sequel. It was a great one-shot movie, and it doesn't really need a sequel. But I mean, I'll
Uh,
probably watch it because I like that sort of thing. But it's just
yeah, I'm
yeah,
not sure
kind of
where they can take it from here because they really did.
yeah, exactly. They kind of explored everywhere they needed to explore for this movie. So
uh, yeah.
I,
Although
I
I
I
would,
really feel like they're just trying to cash in, and I hope I'm wrong. And the second one is really good, but yeah, it just doesn't feel like it's something that really needs a sequel, and I don't really see where they can go with a sequel. So
I
Unless
want,
someone finds like a backup processor of you know Megan, and and the dude did steal the plants,
yeah,
so we
mm,
don't know whether he actually did actually hand them off or not.
yeah, how much they got and stuff, and
yeah,
It's just like to me like in the original Jurassic Park, the fat guy, a guy went and stole like all these like things and stuck it in the canister, and he left that canister in the Dilophosaurus cave. I thought the second movie was going to be about, you know, them finding that canister
Whew.
and
Uh,
continuing the park elsewhere. But that was
uh, po- Possibly what might happen is since all these people were killed by Megan, and it was the aunt who brought Megan into existence. Maybe she could still face some legal consequences of it all. Maybe she would go to prison.
I don't know how they could. That's kind of a stretch. I mean, it's. I mean, she obviously didn't make the robot to kill people. You know?
no, she
Oh,
didn't. And Megan did most of that on her own.
That's
So
like saying someone who makes a gun or a sword is accountable for someone using it to kill someone.
you have to show proof of evidence that the aunt might have put those commands in there for the robot to do it.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, what I thought is maybe if someone else ends up getting a hold of her devices, and if Megan has uploaded her consciousness into those devices, maybe Megan can trick the next person who uses those devices to think that rebuilding her would be a good idea for some reason.
Very possible. We don't know exactly what they'll come up with in the second movie and how good it will play out. So
Mm.
let's not judge it before it happens.
Uh, yeah. Although I must say I kind of expected a different ending for this movie. I thought it would be more to the horror side. I thought it would be something like
Nobody survived.
well, not quite like that, but what I had in mind was there was this moment when the girl was under Megan's influence and she slapped the aunt in the face. I thought it would be something like maybe Megan would learn how to hypnotize people, and she could subdue the aunt to her will, make her a completely mindless agent of Megan's will, and then the aunt would start working in Megan's favor, and the girl would continue to grow under Megan's
The little
influence.
girl is just.
Either that or the little girl, Katie, would have an accident and she'd have to place her brain inside Megan or something to that effect, you know?
Uh, Sorry, what did you say about an accident? I didn't understand.
I said, or Katie could have an accident and die. And her brain would actually go inside Megan and use that brain inside of an AI or
Huh.
something to that effect, you know, and keep Katie alive through some
Ooh,
unnatural thing.
that's an interesting idea too.
What were you going to say, Kroll? I know you were starting to.
I don't remember.
Okay. I believe at this point we are at production, aren't we?
Mm, yes. Uh, so, what did we all think about the production?
Oh, what about you, Kroll? What did you think about production?
I thought the production was great, as I'd stated before. Everything looked realistic. It really looked like a girl playing a robot, trying to be more human. Um, you know, the kill scenes were really good and really nice photos.
Yes,
Yeah, it
no.
wasn't exactly quite horror as much as Philip might have thought it was. But it was a really good story, and Yeah, well, I think we got some good kills in it, and we didn't really have to wait that long before we started seeing it. I mean, of course, we didn't really see the dog die, but we know the dog died. And then the next kill was kind of a more of an accident, but she did rip the kid's ear off, so that was cool. Yeah, I think the special effects were awesome. So yeah, that's what I think about it.
Okay. What about you, Tammy?
I thought the effects were pretty good. I mean, you couldn't have made Megan look more realistic than she did, and especially they did show her being made, and that was even better for when she was finished. Um, I liked that they threw that other one, Bruce, I guess his name was, in there.
Yes.
I thought that was a cool throw in there, both in the beginning and at the end, because it was another robot. And yeah, I thought most stuff looked very real. And storyline was decent. I mean, good robot going bad. So type of thing. But yeah, I thought it was pretty decent.
Okay.
When good robots go bad.
Don't the robots always go bad for the most part?
No, Johnny Five.
Johnny Five did go bad for a moment.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. I believe it was Short Circuit 2, he actually was reprogrammed to be.
Yeah, but then he reprogrammed himself back.
Yeah, but he still went bad for a moment. So there.
That wasn't his fault. He got reprogrammed that way.
But
And I can't think of her name in Small Wonder. She never went bad.
or there's also batteries not included, which they also did not go bad. So
You already you
Wasn't that movie Man's Best Friend? Wasn't that a robot dog?
that's right.
And they tried to make it for military or whatever, and the dog escaped, and it protected the people that were trying to help it. It really wasn't a bad robot. They were trying to make it bad.
Yeah. There was also one not too long ago that was supposedly supposed to be like a military dog, and it was a robot dog. And it ended up being a boy's best friend. I forget what it was called, but it wasn't too long ago. But in any case, as far as production goes, I thought this was a pretty darn good production. I mean, the way that they made it seem like Megan was actual, because you got to see it from her point of view too. Like when she's monitoring Katie, she's monitoring her moods and her body temperature and her ups and downs. How much percentage these different feelings are, and I thought that was cool. To see as far as the way that Megan looked, she looked as real as you could possibly get. I mean, more real than I've seen any other robots besides Bicentennial Man, which was a good movie. and I thought the effects were pretty decent to make her seem like she is in fact a killer. And I thought the different areas that they had her in, it looked pretty real. So yeah, I thought it was a well-rounded AI film. So I wouldn't have wanted to have met Megan by the end of it, that's for sure. Nor would I want to have one like her in my house. But
what about having one of these in your house?
no, thank you.
Aww.
She'd have to be like bigger.
Oh my! Now I see what you did there.
But in any case,
Uh,
so yeah, I thought the production was really good.
I also thought it was pretty good. Sorry, were you still going to say something about the
No,
production?
you're good.
Oh, so I also thought it was pretty good. Maybe since the movie generally doesn't rely much on the gore, maybe the scene with the ear being pulled off, maybe it didn't have to be so graphic. We didn't need to see that much of it. I don't dislike the idea of it being done, but since there is otherwise not much gore in the movie, that scene was kind of, at least to me, it felt a little bit out of place. But okay. And the beginning, I think, although the movie doesn't really ever get boring, not even at the beginning, but I still kind of felt it took a little bit too long to get to the point where serious shit starts happening with Megan. Uh, so yeah, maybe that would be my only issue, and yeah, otherwise the effects were really good. And like I said, I kind of hoped for a different ending, but okay. Uh, aside from that, yeah, everything was pretty good.
Okay, I think we're on to the music, correct?
Mm,
What did y'all think about the music?
who is first?
Well, I didn't really notice too much except for like when she sang that song. I didn't know the song at all, but it seemed appropriate at the time and really seemed to help Katie and everybody loved that scene. So it's yeah, it turned out like the demonstration didn't go any way they wanted it to, but it ended up being better, and it was all because Katie was really upset, and she just and you know, uh, Megan went over and comforted her, and it was an amazing scene, and it was way better than what they could have done any other way, but yeah, but it made the aunt realized that the kid really wasn't ready to do that, and she put too much pressure on her. That's when she realized, she needs to just bring her home and get the hell out of there. To screw her job. She needs to take care of the kids. So she finally realized then that, she had been wrong.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, She's not perfect, but when she's wrong, she admits it. So
Mm, yeah, that's a good point. Uh, I did notice quite several songs, and they were quite interesting. I especially liked the part of Megan singing Titanium, which otherwise it's a song I really like a lot. Uh,
Titanium.
yes, you didn't know that song.
No,
You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. Uh,
I still
David,
don't know it.
David Guetta and Sia, Titanium. You can look it up.
I believe you.
Yeah, so I was quite impressed when I heard that song. There were several other songs which I don't know the title of, but they are mentioned in the ending credits, so I'm going to check them out. And there is actually one really interesting song. I think it wasn't in the movie. I'm not exactly sure. I think maybe it was in the trailer. I found it while I was looking the movie up. It's called Dolls by Bella Porch. I think it's actually a song based on the movie. It's a quite good song. I'm going to add it to my playlist.
Well, the composer to the music behind Megan was Anthony Willis, and he did a lot of additional music to a lot of other movies, uh, like the Kingsman, Ron's Gone Wrong,
Did
Cherry,
not.
The Next Level, How to Train Your Dragon, the Hidden World, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Solo, a Star Wars story, um, Monster Trucks, The Birth of a Nation. A lot of that stuff he did some additional stuff too, but he was the composer behind Promising Young Woman. Um, he was the composer to the game Fortnite, and the composer for a movie called The Hive in 2014. So, yeah. So these are some of this previous stuff. Didn't want to go through all of it, but I just figured I'd mention a few. So,
Over two.
other than that, I think we're down to our favorite scenes and our favorite characters, right?
Did Tammy say anything about the music?
Did you want to, Tammy?
Not really.
I figured that because music's not entirely her forte.
I love music, but I didn't even really notice the music much except for when she sang the first
It-
couple times. So
it's kind of interesting that I did, since I'm usually the one who is prone to not noticing much of music the first time I watch a movie.
Well,
depends on the movie, I think.
if the movie has music that is recognizable and actually good music, then yeah, sometimes I notice it. But
Oh, like Succubus Hellbent.
well,
Sorry.
that's more like a favorite of yours.
Sorry, I
So,
can't do. Yeah, it is.
but yeah, I mean, I've gotten into some music like from various films, but this one didn't have much that I would recognize outside of it. I don't watch a movie to listen to the soundtrack or the music behind it. I rather like to watch the movie for the most part.
But music is supposed to enhance the movie, not deter you from watching the movie.
Was it serviceable? Yes, I think it was. So, other than that, uh, favorite scenes and favorite character. Crow, go ahead.
Oh, the favorite character. Although Megan was really great character for a villain. Um, and as long as another one of those things where I don't think she realized she was being a villain. She thought she was being good. Um, type of those, which is always the best kind of villain sometimes. Um, but yeah. So and as far as favorites, I don't know. There's really good ones. Uh, I think probably when Bruce rips her in half. Rips Megan in half is a really good scene. That whole fight scene with against Bruce and then afterwards was really good. I really thought that Bruce was going to fall on top of the ant for a minute there when he fell, but he didn't. So yeah, it was good. And the kid, not only did the kid save her aunt's life once with Bruce, but then again at the end she stabs Megan's processor unit. So yeah, the kid doesn't remember to flush the toilet, but she can save her aunt's life twice.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what the hell? She's 9 and you can't flush the toilet, or wash her
Oh yeah.
hands. That's that. As much as they have in this movie, that part I found unbelievable.
Uh, that Katie needed to be reminded to flush the
Yeah,
toilet.
to flush the toilet and wash her hands.
Evidently, her real parents never enforced that thing.
good,
Those
good
types of.
thing
But
she
they're
did.
worried about screen time?
A good thing she didn't need to be reminded to wipe her ass.
Well, maybe we just didn't see that scene. Which, for one, I'm glad for. But then again, girls wiping the front too, and she didn't have to be reminded of that. So
um,
Alrighty, what about you, Jamie?
Hoot, Tammy,
What?
your favorite character and favorite scenes.
Um, I guess my favorite character actually was Katie. You know, she goes from she's had so much to go through in this whole movie. And then she ends up being basically the hero in the end. So, um, favorite scene, I guess the ending. When Katie comes in and activates Bruce and like saves the day, and if he just rips that Megan apart and everything. That was, even before that, the whole fight scene that goes on, it was pretty intense. Because Megan's kind of like, Jason. He keeps on coming. He keeps on coming. you know. I mean,
Mm,
how many different things that happened to it, and Megan, and she still kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. So
mm,
that
yes.
whole scene at the end was pretty cool.
Mm, in my case, my favorite character was actually Megan for a very specific reason. I generally have a thing for characters, especially female characters, who are so extremely protective over someone they care about, who would go to unimaginable extents for that person's sake. like how far Megan was willing to go for Katie before things went too much out of control. That was something I really liked, and that's kind of why I was somewhat sad to see Megan getting destroyed, even though we could say she deserved it. But yeah, I really had a soft spot for that bond that was developing between them when they wanted to stay inseparable and when they were both willing to fight everyone who was trying to separate them. That was something I personally found more beautiful than people would probably say I should. But yeah. Uh, that was something I liked. And favorite scenes, well, I did actually like a lot this scene when uh, they were demonstrating Megan's capabilities to the boss and whoever was there when Katie got sad about her parents' death, and Megan was comforting her by recording Katie's words about her memories of her parents. I found that scene really beautiful, and I also liked the scene when Katie went completely psycho about being separated from Megan and ended up slapping the aunt in the face. That was just brilliant. Uh, and yeah, I see everyone's favorite scene is the final fight, which, yeah, I admit it was really good how they brought Bruce back into the story. That was some really good writing there, but I was kind of sad that they destroyed Megan in the end. Although, yeah, like I said, I won't bitch too much about that since we are hopefully getting a sequel. Uh, what else? Oh yeah, I did also like the scene of what she did to the kid. Although yeah, maybe we could say he didn't quite deserve to die since he was still just a kid and he could have learned to do better than what he was doing. But yeah, he was a bully, and I couldn't really bring myself to feel too sorry for him. Uh, what else? Ooh. I did also kind of like when she got the neighbor. I kind of also wished she would have gotten that social worker's ass. Um, yeah, I guess that would be it, more or less.
Okay. And I myself, I actually, I think I will go with Megan as my favorite character as well because she she was not made with the intent to hurt anyone, and it's unfortunate that she was made with such um, magnitude of knowledge that she was a constantly learning machine. And she would be downloading content constantly and learning stuff as she needed it. She even looked into what death was and what happened to um, Katie's parents and what happened there. She even experienced hurt from others, first before she actually decided to go all in and evil. Although to us it was evil, to Megan it was as if she was coming into her own and learning what humanity was. We are an interesting species. We are definitely as bad as she was saying to the ant, and I do think that we are an atrocious species.
Yes,
I
yes.
really do. Because we do the stuff to ourselves. And I hate to say this, but it was only a matter of time before she learned calculating the survival of the fittest, you know. And a lot of what she was doing was in order to protect Katie at first, you know. Then
Yes.
I think the other stuff was to protect her owner or creator from the bad things that people were doing. And she also didn't want it to be made anywhere else. So I think she was a product of knowledge and just going too far, you know, making something that is almost can almost quite think like a human being. It's just a lot of it was on the negative spectrum of things, you know. Um, she learned that, you know, humans did things for no reason as well, and why couldn't she? You know, she started questioning, you know, the ideas of why of right and wrong, and that's where I think the robots stepped too far. You know, where she didn't really care about the right and wrong of things. Maybe she'd seen in history that people are entirely more cruel to each other. So
Mm, yeah, so she can kind of learn it as if it wasn't wrong.
as far as favorite scenes, I would have to say I really enjoyed when the kid, when the bad kid died. I had no remorse for his death. Um, I've had bullies like him.
He's a kid.
Kids can be evil
I
too.
know I was bullied too, but he's a kid.
And you think he would have learned something?
Could've.
Well, possibly, who knows?
The kid would have continued to stayed.
You don't
Also,
know
he
that.
was very old for his age group. He looked like he was 12, 13, 14. He can be tried as an adult at that age. So
Oh, what? Saying fuck off?
for anything, for like murder
Well,
or
he
No, not in this state.
uh,
What
he
country you
put
live
he hurt Katie with that spiky plant, whatever that thing was, and he did that for no reason at all.
in? He wasn't a
Uh,
good kid, but I don't think he deserved to die.
I don't think he
uh,
deserved to die. No, but
That's not what you just said.
I
Okay.
the things
but
that we saw him do did not make me feel anything for him.
maybe maybe he didn't deserve to die, but those around him deserve to be free of him.
Well, yeah, because evidently it's a showing on what kind of parenting he went through.
Um, yeah.
Sometimes a child is a product of the parent. So if the
Mm,
parent doesn't shape them and mold them into what they are supposed to do, knowing right from wrong, and not doing exactly what they're supposed to do, then
Sometimes the parents do everything they're supposed to do, and kids still don't listen and don't do what they're
uh,
supposed to.
yeah, you all know that movie, The Good Son.
I know the good son.
Uh,
Yep.
sorry, did you say you know it or don't know it?
I do know it.
Oh, uh, yeah, that one was
Macaulay Culkin.
interesting. Yes, yes. Uh, I heard people say when I told them about that movie, some people who didn't watch it, And I told them Macaulay Culkin plays a little psychopath, and they were like, Macaulay Culkin as a villain? No way, no way that would happen.
Funny, I could see him as a villain. I could see him as a villain.
And I told
in
them,
the eyes of the burglars, he was a villain. Fucked them up.
yeah, when they said they couldn't take such a movie seriously, I said, okay, keep that mindset and watch the movie.
Right?
He was kind of a villain in American Horror Story in one of the seasons.
Oh,
Never watched that
unfortunately, I
crap.
didn't. Uh, Unfortunately, I didn't watch that, but I believe that was interesting too.
But yeah, I would say the ending was pretty decent too. The fact that they brought Bruce back, I do like that idea that you know kind of goes back to when things were made better. Things were made better, and going back to an original concept. Okay, sometimes older is better. Sometimes well-made stuff is better.
I think Megan was well made.
If she was made the way that was intended to be, then I think Megan would have had nothing wrong with her. But that being said, I do think
It was
that
her programming that was wrong. She didn't have any parameters.
yeah, and I think that was part of the problem. She needed perimeters, and she couldn't.
Bruce didn't
Yeah,
need parameters because he was controlled.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those are my thoughts. Did anyone else have anything else to add?
Oh, I don't think so.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for listening to us, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, it's been interesting listening to our talking about this film and seeing where some of our thoughts may lead. And hopefully, you went out and saw the film. Let us know down in the comments what you thought of our discussion, and we'll see you next week, Sunday. Whose turn is it next? Is it Tammy's?
We'll say
Yeah.
Tammy's.
Have you chosen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with something totally, completely different than we've done in quite a while. A comedy.
Okay.
Which
Stripes.
one?
Stripes?
Yes.
Ah, good movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's got Bill Murray and
Candy.
John Candy.
From
It's an 80s movie.
1981.
Yep.
yep. Alrighty. So next week we'll be doing Stripes. So hopefully you'll be back next week, and hopefully we'll have another good discussion for you. So like, share, and subscribe, and everyone say good night.
Good night.
I say good day.
Good night.